Hi, my name is David Del Rio. How are we all doing today? Did you know there are more to tabletop games than just Monopoly? I consider myself a tabletop gamer. I have plenty of games, and I'd like to go over a few of the genres that I prefer to play. First, there are different types. First type is worker placement. Second type is co-op, and third type is secret identity, which is personally my favorite. So first off, I would like to go over worker placement. There are different games like Lords of Waterdeep and A Small World. Lords of Waterdeep and A Small World are very similar, where you have a certain hero and or race that you choose at the beginning of the game that give you special abilities versus compared to other people. Lords of Waterdeep, you basically delegate your workers that you have to go on missions, and if you complete those missions, you get victory points. And if you get enough victory points, you're able to win the game, but you're also playing against the other people you're playing with. So they also have the same parameters, different workers, different abilities that will help them in certain ways. So it's a very fun and competitive game. And then there are games like A Small World. It's a great game. You choose one of these races. On the top, you can choose an elf, undead. Right here, or different races have different abilities as well, but the object of this game is to collect resources, and if you collect enough resources, you get victory points. Get enough victory points, you win. But other people can encroach on your territory, take your resources, so it's very competitive as well. It's a great game to play though, and I do highly suggest these two. Second type of game is co-op. Co-op is another great game to play with friends, because you have an overall objective that everybody goes with, and if you win, everybody wins. So there's nothing wrong with that. And my first game I would like to go over is Pandemic. We all know what Pandemic is because we're going through one right now. It's super fun. So Pandemic, there's a virus that has infected the world. It starts off in one place, but it spreads. And to beat this, in the beginning of the game, you choose a hero with special abilities, and those heroes can work together and eradicate the virus. But there are certain cards that you pull that will help the virus spread a lot faster, or it can also change the virus to make it harder to beat, which is very interesting to do. The game overall is a very fun game because it requires collaboration between different people, and sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes there's a person that will be a villain, so that's a fun way to play the game. The second game I'd like to talk about is Dead of Winter. It's a zombie game, and you have to cooperate with your friends to run a small town. This small town, you bring in random people from the game with cards, and they will bring weapons, they'll bring food. Some people will sabotage you from the inside, and you basically have to survive a month, and there's different cards that will say, hey, there's a snowstorm coming, or there's just a zombie attack, a horde's coming to get you. It's a fun game, very interesting. I've only played it a couple times, but I do highly suggest it. The third type of game was by far my favorite, and it's Secret Identity. I'd like to go over Secret Identity, but I'm going to start with this one. This is Secret Hitler. It is a great game. Very interesting, because nobody likes to be Hitler. But in Secret Hitler, you hand out cards randomly in envelopes. And everybody opens their envelopes, and only you can see what you got. So if I got Hitler, there are two other people that would be also on the fascist team. And the goal of this game is, if the fascist wins, if Hitler passes enough fascist propaganda in the overall game, the fascists win. But if the good people pass enough good propaganda, they win the game as well. So it's kind of, you got to pick out who not to trust and who to trust. And that's the whole entirety of the game, is basically built off trust. Or you can, have fun with it and always choose one of the most trustworthy person and call them Hitler the entire game. It's also fun. It's really weird. Definitely top 5 game, I would say. And another secret identity game, which is also fun and is built off a different game called Mafia, but this one is called One Night Ultimate Werewolf. It's a very fun game. And say you have 5 friends playing, there would be one werewolf and the rest would be villagers. The villagers don't know who the other villagers are, and the werewolf only knows who he is. So the entirety of the game, the villagers have to survive the night. If they can't survive the night, the werewolf killed them, obviously. But during the morning, the villagers wake up and they see who died, so that person doesn't get to play anymore. And the villagers collaborate to find out who the werewolf is. But the werewolf is posing as a villager. So, all hijinks and all craziness will happen during this game. It's super fun. I do highly suggest all of these games that I've listed off, especially the ones that I've pointed out. And I've gotten some of these games, like Lords of Waterdeep and Dead of Winter, from a website called The Gamer. It's a great place to find different types of games. I highly suggest looking it up. Overall, I'd just like to say tabletop games are great. The top 3 that I've listed off was Worker Placement, Co-op, and Secret Identity. Best games. Did you guys know about any of these games? If you know, let me know. All right, have a good night.